I've spent years, collecting treasures, memories, pictures. Everything in this house means something. I was adopted as an infant. I had a very loving, happy life. When I was in 3rd grade, my mom became ill and basically bedridden. That was hard, and I found myself missing that energy of a big, full family. Just after I had my first daughter, Emmy, my grandmother died on my maternal side, which was a big blow. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he died 5 months later at the age of 66. This was a real humbling blow, to have 2 of the major parts of my life die. Only 3 years later, my mom very suddenly died. I often thought about my biological parents throughout my life. I remember thinking, how could a mother carry a child and give up a child? Did they not want me? And so it stirred up a lot of feelings in me, and there was always the question of why. But I really started to feel that push and that tug to see, to look. And so I did. So I called Catholic Community Services because I knew that's who I had been adopted through. And she said, wow, ironically, your file's literally sitting on my desk. And I was just floored. We went back and we sat at her desk, and she picked up a file. And on the file, there was a name on the tab. And I immediately saw the name Dupree, Pamela Gale. And I remember thinking, there's no way. There is no way that the name of this person that I've thought of my whole entire life is sitting on this file. She flipped over the file and said, your father was in the military, and literally scrolled across the page was this huge loopy signature that said Christos Angelo Anastasados. Oh my God, there's my dad. That's my birth dad. All of a sudden, I thought Pamela, the name on the file, and then I thought Anastasados, and I recognized the name Anastasados. But when I put together Pamela Anastasados, I realized I knew my mom. I had a store called Name Droppers. All these years that I had owned my store, I had known my mom. She had been a customer. She used to hum while she shopped. And I literally had nicknamed her fondly the Hummer because she was just a very kind lady. I remember I finally decided to write a letter. February 26, 1999. Dear Pam and Chris, there's no subtle way to begin this letter. Deep down, I am hoping that you may have hoped one day I would contact you. I can't predict how this letter will affect you, whether I am an issue better left in the past or a door that might lead to the future. It was a very, very heavy time for the next 24 to 48 hours, knowing that these people were going to get this letter and what was going to happen next. I have never felt honestly so vulnerable in my entire life. About the 3rd day, I walked into my office, and sitting on my keyboard was a business card. And I flipped it over, and in the same big scrolly handwriting that was across that file, it says, "Hi Mia, I can't wait to meet you. I love you, Dad." My life literally turned on a dime at that exact moment because I finally exhaled, and I knew that everything was going to be okay. Literally the next day, Pam came in the store like she had so many times, and she walked up to me with her arms open and a picture in her hand, and she said, "Mia, here's your biological family." She said, "Do you remember the time that we talked outside the store and you were 9 months pregnant with Emmy?" I don't even remember this. And she said, "We talked all about motherhood and having children, and that it was my first child." And she said, "Do you realize that I got to see you graduate from college? I knew you when you were getting ready for your wedding. I knew you after you were married. I knew you when you were pregnant." It's crazy because neither one of us had any clue who the other one was. Yet the beauty of having known her for so long, and I can never forget the fact that her humming affected me. She explained that she had gotten pregnant in high school, that it was a very hard time because she and Angelo split up for a while, and it was a very lonely time for her. Pam and Angelo ended up getting back together before my birth. Looking back on this whole experience, it's just clear as day to me that God has a plan. God played so many roles in my life and put people in my life. There were hard times, there were sad times, there were great times, but the path that He led for me led me to this moment where I had buried my parents, and then the gift from heaven of finding 2 more parents truly is indescribable to me. I often think back to the strength it must have taken for Pam and the independence to be brave enough to go to San Francisco and have a baby and give that baby up, knowing that baby would have a better life. At the same time, I'm overwhelmed with gratefulness and love for my mom, Eileen Brophy, who raised me, who gave me a home, who gave me a life, who I was very, very bonded to. But I truly believe that God gave me a role to play in the Brophy family, and then I was given the gift of a role to play and exist in the Anastasados family. I remember my mom telling me the story that we were all sitting in church not long after we had all met, and there was an activity in church where you had to write down something that you were thankful for. And she told me that she wrote on the piece of paper, "Thank you, God, because my family's finally complete."